Well, I want you to imagine two young boys growing up in the same family, similar age. They grew up going to church, same family. They sit in the same youth group. And then when they get to about 18, they go off to different universities. At university, each one of them, as you know, will be confronted by a choice. Going to church is not automatic anymore. When you leave a Christian home and you head off out into the world, you're at university, it's not automatic. You don't get to 9:40 and everyone's just piling in the car and you're sort of swept along in the wave with them. You have a choice, don't you? Sunday morning, there isn't the pressure to come along. Both these young men face a choice as they head off. Do I continue to identify as a Christian, to live like a Christian, to trust that in following Jesus as I've been raised to, I will find fullness of life? There is nothing better. Or do I turn my back on the faith that my parents have given me, that I've grown up with, and do I reject Jesus' rule over my life and go my own way? Well, these two young men, they make their choice. One continues, keeps trusting in Jesus, gets stuck into church, goes on well in the Christian life at university. The other turns his back on Jesus and the life Jesus calls him to. Now, let's just assume that each of these carries on down that path to the end of his life. Here's the question I want to answer this morning. It's the only question. It's the question for the whole sermon. What makes that difference? What ultimately makes that difference? Now, you might say it's all about environment, small differences in their upbringing that you haven't mentioned it, Duncan, but you don't know. Small differences between them, the class they were in at school, the order that they were, he was the eldest child. Eldest children tend to behave like that, younger ones like that. Okay, maybe small environmental differences, maybe the university they went to, maybe seemingly random, just environmental factors. Okay, those things are obviously influential. Those things make a difference to us, don't they? But are they ultimate? Are they the ultimate reason why someone would carry on following Jesus or reject him? You might say, no. Ultimately, I want to give the free will answer. Ultimately, human beings are free to make their own choices. One chooses one way, the other chooses differently. And certainly these young men did make real choices, didn't they? No one was pulling their strings. People are not generated by AI prompts. We really make our own choices. But are our own choices ultimate? Are they the highest determining factor? Are they the ultimate answer to the question, what makes the difference? Let me put it this way. When they meet up at a family gathering, does the Christian look over at his brother and think, ultimately the difference is that something in me chose right here, and that was missing in you? Is that the reason why I'm in Christ over here and you're cut off out there? What would you say ultimately makes the difference? Ephesians chapter 1 gives us a very clear answer. It is the effective, saving work of God, Father, Son, and Spirit, that ultimately makes the difference. And because that is the clear answer, all of the glory, all of the praise, all of the credit for salvation, for me being in here in Christ and not cut off out there, all of the glory goes to God alone.